All right. So it stayed in there. So we are live. So I will, like I said, there's a lag. There's kind of a lag on YouTube. So I'll play it in a second, but I'll start us off in maybe about 2 to 3 minutes. I'll just, say hi to everyone and then we can start.
All right, sounds good. And then I do have a PowerPoint, so I'll just need
I'll give you access. Yeah, I'll give you access to the screen right now.
All right.
So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chris Cleveland, the Programs Director for the Black Business Initiative. Today, we have a very special and important guest who has not only done this for a while, but, has a book, I believe, but also, has a very successful business in this space. I will allow him to introduce himself in a second. Prior to that, I really want to say what BBI has coming up in the month of September, which is literally tomorrow. The Black Business Initiative's Black Boss Summit is actually here. It is a week away, starting September 10th with our Pitch Black competition that will be live at 5:30 on Friday the 10th. This is going to be our first full weekend. It is going to be our first full weekend as a conference, and we're going to have so much going on. I just mentioned on Friday we'll have our Pitch Black competition, which we gave over 80 contestants around the nation an opportunity to pitch for a $10,000 prize and a $5,000 runner-up prize. We take great pride in this for the simple fact that we looked at Shark Tank and we were just like, why don't our people get, this opportunity? And not that we don't get an opportunity, we just don't get a big enough opportunity for everyone from the ideation stage all the way up. So we decided to give some Black entrepreneurs, some Black businesses around the nation an opportunity to pitch their companies, their ideas, and Pitch Black came alive. So, we're the top 6. We couldn't just end with 5. The top 6 are actually going to be pitching their live, talking about their companies and their products live at the Pitch Black competition. We have some great coaches, some great panelists, some great judges that are going to be there to actually choose the top 2 finishers. So that's going to be our Pitch Black night on Friday. On Saturday is going to be our actual conference day, where we have some local legends, such as Amanda Gordon, who's going to be talking about, what she does with Gojo Auto, being the first woman who owns her own automobile service. So that's going to be huge. We have acts such as who else do we have? We have Danielle Schutz coming to speak. We have a bunch of people. So, and I forgot to mention, we also have Chris Senegal, who is he is in development and he is in real estate. So real estate development, and he is buying up some properties in the 6th Ward in Houston, and he's doing, doing some large things down there. So, the entire weekend is going to be great. We have Hill Harper coming in on Sunday to do his keynote. He's our keynote. He's going to be talking about this is Mr. Black Wall Street himself, who he started, that form of activism in a sense, but actually, providing the knowledge to the people around the nation. So, the Black Boss Summit is coming. You can get your ticket at www.blackbosssummit.com. We have so many things going on, including the Cannabis and Conversation event on Saturday night. So it's going to be a packed weekend full of events, full of keynotes, full of great speakers, and just a chance, a networking opportunity for us. And we don't get that often. So especially in the Rocky Mountain region. So, this is going to be an opportunity that you're going to be able to get around some young professionals around the nation and get an opportunity to network. So that's that for the Black Boss Summit. Let's get back to this branding series, because I know Barry is ready to jump in and ready to go. So Barry, I want to turn it over to you, let you introduce yourself. We have some people obviously tuning in and that are going to be jumping in. We did this during rush hour, so I know people are going to be coming a little bit later, but it's going to be worth it. So I'll hand it over to you.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. And man, it is really an honor and a pleasure to be here. I've been following Jice probably the last 4 years or so, and just really impressed by everything that she's doing. And anytime that I can be a contributor to the work that she's putting in here in the Metro Denver area, it's like I said, it's always an honor to be a part of that. And Chris, if you can give me that hosting privilege on that, and then I'll pull up this PowerPoint. But I'm excited for those of you that are joining us also, because I'm going to share with you some things in regards to branding. We're going to go a little bit into the marketing aspect of things as well, where we are going to talk a little bit just in regards to the ability to how you can brand yourself on a budget. And then as you become bigger in those areas that you're working in, how you can expand that particular budget to really grow your business. And I'm speaking from a place of doing just that, of having those experiences myself, and starting on a budget, and now literally hiring teams now that are assisting me with all the things that I'm doing. I have people that just called me today that reached out in regards to marketing material that went out based off of a team that I hired a couple of months ago. We strategized for the last month as to what we're going to be putting out, what's the theme of the message, and now it's all starting to hit. I'm trying to find my PowerPoint here. Give me just 1 second. Let's see here.
So you like me, you probably got like 12 different things on the overhead portion.
Yeah. And I got 2 different PowerPoints. One of them is, y'all don't want a listing presentation right now. So trying to see if I can get the right one. And yeah, we are having trouble finding here. But I tell you what I'm going to do is I have the PowerPoint where I can see it. You guys can see me. So I'm just going to share, going through the PowerPoint, kind of share a little bit about me and share the branding aspect. We're going to be taking some breaks and answering some questions. Hopefully at some point I'm able to.
Is it giving you an issue sharing?
Yeah, it's allowing me to share, but it's not popping up in the group, that group of, okay, actually I got it. It just popped up. All right, here we go. All right, are y'all seeing my screen now?
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
All right, awesome. All right, so hi. So my name is Barry Overton, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, but one thing I want you to take notice of when I'm talking is my background. There has no formal education in marketing or branding. There is, no long, extensive background in branding. But I can tell you, I've been coached and trained by some of the best in the industry of different areas. And I've been able to take bits and pieces of the things that I've learned and apply them to my business. And it's what it's done for me. It's created hundreds of thousands of dollars a year that I've been able to earn in income in one particular market, moving into another market that is going to be actually a 7-figure a year market. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But it's just really exciting to see that we live in a day and age right now unlike any. This is not our parents or our grandparents' advertising, marketing, brand. We have a whole different age. And the beauty of it is it's so accessible for all of us, pretty much at no cost. The challenge with it is staying up to speed with it because it changes so fast. Before I jump into that, let's talk about me a little bit, just kind of share where I'm coming from. Again, like I said, you're not going to hear about this, super duper branding expert, but I think as I go along, you'll understand, how I've come to learn so much about this particular area. But let me give you my background. I spent, 3.5 years in the military. I'm a Gulf War veteran. I went into the military at 18 as a military police officer, and I spent 26 years in law enforcement. So 26 years of my life was spent in law enforcement from 18 to right around 45. And I retired at the age of 45, and actually was also doing real estate prior to retiring, as well as some entrepreneurial endeavors. I've been in real estate as a broker for 20 years, as an investor and broker, 25 years that I've spent in the real estate world. And on top of that, I've had numerous companies that I've owned. I've had a barbecue catering business. I had a security alarm company. I had a concert promotion business right here in the Denver metro area. And a lot of this was while I was a police officer. So I've been entrepreneurial for a very long time and had failures, but I learned from those failures and created success from them. A lot of that comes along with the branding and marketing, the trial and error of different things that, we were trying to see what worked. And one of the most recent endeavors is I just released my first book. It's a personal development book, Ignite Your Greatness. This is something that it's been inside of me for probably the last 7 years. And I finally put the pen to paper, and we got it published in November of 2020. And it's a bestseller on Amazon. We just released the audiobook version of the book, and I'm actually the one that's speaking on it. And that's another thing that's been truly exciting to be able to do that, because I can tell you, I'm an Audible book guy myself. I like to listen when I run. I like to listen in the car. So for me to write a book, I knew that there's going to be an audience out there that may not read it, but they'll listen to it. So I wanted to make it accessible from that standpoint as well. And then doing the book.
I have it on audio.
Oh, sweet. All right. And since then, I've become a public speaker, doing speaking engagements. We've had quite a few this year. I'll be in San Diego Labor Day weekend, and we got San Antonio. We'll be in Denver October 10th, and I think Orlando at the end of October. So got a few other engagements that are popping up. And so again, you can see when you look at, this is my life pretty much, and career-wise, there's been a lot of areas that I've worked in, transitioning from working for someone else to working for myself. And honestly, if you come back another 5 years, this whole page would be full, because there's other projects that are in the works right now that I'm, just getting ready to launch. And the beauty of it is, like I said, every one of these aspects have a branding component to it. I want you to if you look at the real estate photo, there's a branding aspect to it. I want to make sure we understand, we're not talking about the logo, we're talking about the branding. And I'm gonna talk about the difference between those here in just a second. But what I'm gonna share with you today is building your personal brand and how you become an influence. And one thing that it's important for us to all know and understand is that we all have a brand. Whether you own a business or not, we all have a brand. And the key is really understanding what your brand is and then being able to project it. Obviously, it's very important if you have a business to be able to do that. But even when you don't, there's many people that don't realize that they are putting a brand out there without even having a business. And I'm going to share with you exactly how that happens. And we're going to talk a little bit about, number one, what is a brand? A lot of times people, I got 3 companies up there. every one of you, I guarantee you know all three of those companies because they've done a great job of building a brand. And before we talk about what is a brand, we're going to talk about what isn't a brand. What's not a brand? A brand is not a logo. All right. So you see the Starbucks symbol, that's the logo. The Apple is the logo. The Amazon, that is their logo. Whatever their company slogan may be or tagline, the name of the company, that's exactly what those are. Those have nothing, well, they have everything to do with the brand, but they're not the brand themselves, but they come together to create the brand. Now, I like when I introduce and say what the brand, what branding is, I love this quote from Maya Angelou, because this is what really just kind of broke it down for me in regards to branding. And, you know, she said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And when I first heard that many, many years ago, I thought about it, and I thought about the people that had been in my life and had left my life either through death or just were no longer in my life. And I thought about what is it that I remember about them first. And it was the things that they did to make me feel a certain way. It's how they left me when the conversation was done. And when you think about brand, you have to think about it much the same way. It comes down to how a person feels. I want you to think, if you're a Starbucks coffee drinker, or think about your favorite beverage, whatever that may be. Mine is Dr. Pepper. When I see someone wearing those Dr. Pepper t-shirts, my mouth starts to water. Think about that for a second. My mouth starts to water just because I love Dr. Pepper that much. And, you know, when you think about whether it's Starbucks, whether it's Apple, Amazon, I can tell you, I got turned on to Amazon big time since the pandemic. You know, I was always one of those that went to the store, got what I wanted, came home. I love going on the computer, ordering something. I just had an order show up like 30 minutes ago. Bought a suit on Amazon. Bought a really nice fall jacket on Amazon. So when I see that symbol, for me, I kind of get excited, and I can tell you prior to the pandemic, because my wife has been on Amazon for years, I had a whole different feeling because she got excited about Amazon. I didn't, because she was always on there and there was always packages coming. But now it is twice the amount of packages coming. But again, just think about those brands, whether it's Mercedes-Benz or, maybe it's, I'm in real estate. Maybe you get excited when you see a Keller Williams sign because it makes you, maybe you bought a home and you bought it through a Keller Williams agent, and it automatically takes you back to that excitement of buying a home. So that's what branding does. It puts a feeling and emotion on you. And I always tell people that emotion drives motion. It makes people act on things. And that's what you want branding to do. I have a good friend that owns a Mexican restaurant here in Denver. The best branding that I've ever seen, because every time she does it, guess who their customer for the day? I am. They put a picture of enchiladas or a taco plate or something like that on, just throw it on Instagram. Bam, an hour later, I'm a customer.
Make sure you plug it. Make sure you plug it, Barry. Make sure you plug it.
Yeah, it's Gomez Burritos. Gomez Burritos down on West 38th, right at I-25.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it works. Barbecue will do that for me as well. And I guarantee you, as you're listening to this, whether it's a dress, whether it's food, whether it's a beverage or coffee or whatever the case may be, you're triggered by those things. That's the reason that we see so much of that on social media right now. But let's talk about your personal brand. Your personal brand, you are the biggest asset to that brand, especially if you're a small business. If whether you have clients, you have employees or not, you are the face of the company. You are the brand. So that's why it becomes so important for you. The image of the brand is you in the very beginning. Maybe as you get bigger, you become, a Fortune 500 company, maybe it changes. But again, if you think about Wendy's, the hamburger restaurant, their logo, which is part of their brand, is the daughter of Dave Thomas, as a child. And that has stuck, so whether you're big or small, in many instances, you are going to be a big part of the brand. And honestly, the bigger you get, you're going to still see, because a lot of times people, they look at, you can think of Elon Musk, and we all already correlate him to Tesla and SpaceX and some of the other companies that he's doing. But the first thing we think about is Elon Musk and who he is and what he represents. And then we think about those companies that he's been able to open. So we want to be able to take your brand to places that you never thought possible. And what I want you to do, I shared with you, I've been in real estate for 2 years. I was in law enforcement for 26 years. There was some overlap of those two. And one of the things, this was the transition point for me. So when I decided in 2017, so 20 years, in 2001, I got into real estate. But 2017 is when I turned it on. Now, I was doing deals here and there, very small amount of deals, probably 6 to 10 deals a year, and making, significant money from that, but I wasn't taking it serious. But in 2017, I told myself, okay, it is time to take real estate to another level. And I said, in the law enforcement world, whether it's Aurora, Denver, sheriffs, fire, many people know me in that area. But I was relatively unknown outside of that. Because see, I worked in narcotics as a detective. So I was not trying to be known to the general population as being a police officer, just known in general. And when I decided that I have to build this brand, the first thing I started with is dreaming big of what I wanted this to look like. And I told myself I wanted to be the Frank Azar of real estate. I wanted to be the name that when someone says real estate, I'm the one that comes to mind. Just like I talked about the Apple, Amazon, and Starbucks. When someone says coffee, Starbucks probably comes to mind. Someone says computers, Apple comes to mind for some people. And when you think about from a standpoint of right here in the Denver market, when I say Frank Azar, everybody knows what he does. He works cases for people that have been involved in accidents. But think about this for a second. Who is the one name that everyone knows in the Metro Denver area, black, white, yellow, green, doesn't matter what color they are, everyone knows them when you say real estate? Don't worry, I'll wait. There's not a name. Now, I can tell you, especially in our community, African-American community, we got some names like April Denman, who's a good friend, Delroy Gill, Chad Nash, myself, my name has been out there. But again, those guys were around, even though I've been in real estate about the same time as April, longer than most other people. I didn't start putting my name out there until 2017. But I told myself in 2017, I want to be that name that everyone thinks about in real estate. And right now, while I'm not there yet, it's still a process, and I'm trusting in the process. I'm only 4 years in, and it takes typically about 7 years to get a brand to a level of, say, going viral, for instance. So I'm on a very fast track in regards to what I'm doing. And I'm going to share with you some of those things in the areas that I'm working. So I do want to, number one, I want to take a pause for a second and just tell you, you have the opportunity to put questions in the chat here on Zoom, as well is on the YouTube live. Definitely reach out as I'm going through this. I got a lot of information to go through, but if you got a question, we're going to definitely, pump the brakes and come back and want to get those questions answered, because this is a workshop that is for you. We want to make sure that you walk away with it with some content, some information that is helpful to you and helpful to taking you to the next level. And Chris is monitoring that. He'll jump in and let me know when we have some questions to cover. So definitely, I want to just make sure you're aware of that and open that up to you. So let's talk about what is, a personal brand. The personal brand is all encompassing. It's about who you are and what you do. It really comes down to the actions, behaviors that can affect your business. And I want to talk about that from a standpoint of social media. We live in a day and age right now where we have access to advertising that's free, and it's called social media. It's called Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok now, Snapchat, so many others that now, while I do sponsored ads, there's many people that do sponsored ads. I got a ton of business from free marketing right off of my personal page or my business page on some of those different platforms. So we're going to talk about how important it is what you're projecting. Now, Chris and I were talking before I jumped on, and he said, "Oh man, I should have told you, we kind of keeping it dressed down in regards to, this event and everything today." Well, you're going to see, I'm going to share with you some of my brand. My brand is not dressed down. So I couldn't come here to you today dressed down, because I would be in contradiction of the brand that I'm presenting. So one thing that I think is very important that you always understand is that I always equate it to when you step out of the front door of your house, you are on. Meaning that if you're in business for yourself, it's that moment that you're in the public eye that you are always on. This is something crazy as it sounds. I learned this from law enforcement. When I left my house, I went from Barry, the father, the husband, to Barry, the police officer. I'm aware of everything going on around me and how I present myself. And I just applied that into real estate, into my coffee distribution business, all the different things that I'm doing. Once I step out of those doors, I'm on. When I meet someone, I'm on. And now when I say I'm on, I am still me. But I'm taking into account that people are observing me. People are always watching you. And we know with social media, there's people watching you that you don't even realize. I run into people all the time, never comment, never like, but they can tell me everything going on in my life because it's if they've seen it on Facebook. So you got to realize that you are always on, and you don't necessarily know who you're on for during those times. And we're going to talk about that. Your perfect audience, but then there's that audience that may not be your perfect avatar of who you're trying to promote to, but they are still potential clients. So we're going to talk about that here in just a second as well.
Hey, now, quick question.
Yes, sir.
So have you ever found yourself in a position where you may not have been on and, lost an opportunity or a chance at something because, you weren't necessarily in brand?
Yeah, because I can tell you, especially during the pandemic, man, I am a t-shirts and shorts or t-shirts and sweats guy these days. Honestly, I got shorts on right now. Y'all can't see below the here. So, but that I just feel more comfortable in that at home these days. Now, I've loved wearing suits, and that's where when I started the brand. Again, I have tons of suits, and I've just told you, I just bought a suit. But during the pandemic, I got into a place of, man, I don't have to get dressed up, and I've been in suits a lot less. So you go to the store, and it's been a couple of years ago, but I went to the store after working out. So not only am I in shorts and kind of a raggedy t-shirt, I'm also funky. I didn't take a shower or anything. I went, I needed to grab something, and boom, It was a past client that I met with, that I saw, and it didn't have any ramifications on me not getting, keeping their business or anything like that. But for me, it was a moment of, oh man, I don't like this look that they're seeing on me right now. But I do think, and I'm going to talk about it here in a minute, because just as I'm talking about being out in the world, when we're on social media, we're out in the world. And it's very important that we keep it in a place where we're true to ourselves, but we also we got to always keep the brand top of mind. So some of the things that we're doing, because I can tell you, I've partnered with people, I meet them on LinkedIn, and they're very professional there. I go to Facebook or Instagram, and it's a whole different person. I'm like, wait a minute, do I have the right person here? And so again, two different platforms, two different types of people that you're going to touch. But what I feel, when you go to my LinkedIn, my Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you get the same person in all those areas. Now, again, I know my audience is different in each one of those areas. So what I'm marketing, the marketing piece is different, but the brand stays the same. Does that help with your question?
No, absolutely. So we had an image consultant during the pandemic. Knowing that the pandemic was going to, kind of slow down, the world was going to open them back up. We thought it was just very important, like for people going to interviews, to get out of that funk of the pandemic, right? Like you said, just lounging around at the house. How do you jump onto an interview online when it's just, you want to show up in your t-shirt, you want to show up in your loungewear? And it was really, really shocking that people felt it was okay, to show up to certain things because of what the pandemic did to us mentally. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just wanted to see what your opinion was on that.
Yeah, and I certainly agree. And I think that we're going to see fallout in many different areas in regards to the pandemic. But me and my wife were just talking today about, I would so much prefer to meet through Zoom versus getting in my car, driving to Cherry Creek, and having a coffee meeting these days, because for me, it's time. It's taking away time that, again, that drive time I'm losing in regards to that. But once again, it's about the brand and being a real estate agent. One of the parts of my brand is concierge, that again, I cater to my clients, and it's above and beyond probably what most real estate agents will do. And a part of that is, if you want to meet in person, then we are going to meet in person, because that's what the client wants in that moment. So for me, that's, even though, again, it's more efficient to meet through Zoom, I'm meeting my clients where they need me to be at. But yeah, like I said, I think there's going to be a lot of changes just in regards to how we operate. And I think we especially if we're in business, we have to take notice of, are these changes that I'm making in my business, are they good for the business, or are they diminishing? Are they taking away from what I was doing before? And then again, even though it may be inconvenient to do something, but if it keeps you, on top in regards to your brand, then it's going to be those things that you're going to likely have to do. And that's what I'm measuring for myself as well right now. All right, so we're going to jump into, what the personal brand really includes, and it's about you. It's going to be about your values. All of us have unique skill sets that we have, depending on what it is. Like I said, I'm in real estate, but I'm very tech savvy. I built websites. I just met with the company today where I'm looking to get some training to start building apps as well. I'm going to build my own app, because there's not many real estate agents that have, once again, an app that's branded to them. They have an app that you can go to search for homes. But what I wanted is an app that is branded directly to me, because I just don't, in the Metro Denver area, I don't know of any that have that. So I'm looking, and I've already paid to get into the classes, and they opened up something for me where I'll be able to actually start reselling the app. So again, it's building those skill sets. So that videography is another area that I've been blessed to learn and become very good at. And I use all of these particular areas to continue to build my brand. Your experiences, the experiences that you have in life. And one of the things I can tell you, 26 years in law enforcement, so many different experiences in that area, totally different, realm than what I'm doing right now. But those experiences that I had there come into play and help me all the time here. And then stories. You heard the term facts tell, stories sell. Well, stories also create relationships, because when you tell a story, people, number one, especially if it's a story about you or how your business started, you have to become a little bit vulnerable because you're opening up about who you are. But when you open up and you're vulnerable about who you are, well, people are then, instead of being like this, with their arms fold, when you're talking to them, they also open up. So the stories help to build your brand. Remember, we're trying to get that emotion. The stories are created, or emotion is created through those stories. Personality obviously is very important, that you have a personality, whether you don't have to be the funniest person in the world, but you have to come across, number one, you got to be genuine. Number two, you have to be approachable. And I can tell you, that was number one for me, because I want you to think about it. 26 years in law enforcement. I started at the age of 18, and I didn't have a whole lot of skills as a police officer to be approachable until I got into real estate and started running businesses in the late 90s. When I started running businesses in 2001, when I got into real estate, I realized I couldn't be the same person that I was on the job as a police officer and build this business. So that's when I started learning, right at that point, of how to be more approachable. And it actually helped me in my law enforcement job as well, because people I became magnetic to people versus being someone that they wanted to get away from. And so again, building the personality of being approachable. Humor does help. It does help to crack a few jokes here. Once again, you're bringing down the walls of the people around you, and you're becoming more relatable to people. When you can make someone laugh, they can't help. How does someone make you laugh and you still not like them? It doesn't work that way. So when you can do those things, from the personality aspect of things, you're going to make friends. And then again, like I said, the genuine piece is really just being concerned about, and empathetic to other people. And I can tell you that being in the job that I was in, I learned to develop empathy, because I saw some of the most horrific things between being in a war and being a police officer. Saw some of the most horrific things that you can imagine in life. And so it made me very open, and also wanting to be able to help people in situations. And that applies in real estate. When you look at the Denver market, where you hear there isn't housing that people can afford, I'm always looking for different angles and different ways and different programs to help someone that is in a position where they don't think they can afford a house, all of a sudden buy a house. I posted it yesterday. I have a client that they've been working for 4 years to get themselves in a position to purchase. And they finally got the letter yesterday. And that was the most exciting. That's better than selling $1 million listing, to be able to help someone buy their first home, when I know the work that they've been putting in. So again, being able to connect with my clients and my audience in that way, that's all a part of the personality piece. And then we have the image. The image is really just what people see from you, and we're going to talk about that. What you're projecting, whether it's in person, whether it's through social media, what people are seeing of you when you're on, as I was mentioning. So we're going to talk about, again, the internet. Probably, I don't know, 25, 28 years ago, I think I remember the first time logging on to the internet and realizing that, okay, this is a different animal, and this is going to change how we're able to communicate with one another. And we live in a time where this is not, like I said earlier, this is not your grandfather's marketing area. This is a time now where we have the ability to advertise and market ourselves right from our cell phones on a daily basis, as often as we want to. And you can constantly just put yourselves in front of your audience, through social media, and you're adding value, whatever it is, whatever business that you're in. I think it's more important to lead with value than to lead with a sale, because once again, that's also a part of the branding piece. If people think every time they see you on social media, every time they are in front of you, that you're selling them on something, you've probably heard the old adage, everybody wants to buy, but nobody wants to be sold. But if you can provide value and give them something that helps them without it being a sale, that goes a long way in regards to your brand. And then communicating, whether through your message, being able to communicate it loud and clear through these audiences, whether it's through video, whether it's through text, whether it's through just images. We have that ability to do that. And you think about the marketing that you see done on social media right now. If it was in print advertisement, it would be thousands of dollars a month. If it was TV advertisement or radio advertisement, it would be tens of thousands of dollars per month. I know, because I've done radio advertisement and print or print and TV advertisement, and I can tell you, social media has been the best platform for me from a financial standpoint in regards to getting the best return on my investment. And see, we're trying to get to the next page here. Chris, I did see there was one message in the chat. I didn't get a chance to look to see if it was a question or not.
Yeah, it was me. I was just making sure if anyone did have any questions.
Oh, okay.
Please make sure. Barry is trying to make this as interactive as possible. He does understand that, you all have lives, you all have stuff going on, but obviously you're on here for a reason. You have someone who I consider to be a marketing genius in front of you. And I'm looking at it from a standpoint, and I think you all should be, that this is the person to ask these questions to. And obviously, share it with your network. If you have anyone who you'd like to log on, share the Zoom, link with anyone. And it's obviously on our CTM Media's YouTube page as well. So if you have any questions, put it in the chat. I'll shoot it over to Barry.
All right. So let's talk about the online marketing piece, because I want to make sure that it's important that when you sit down and start to build your perfect customer, your perfect client, you're building this avatar, this image of who it is that you want to market to. It's important to do that because it helps you to create your marketing material and again, make sure that you stay on brand in that marketing material. But one thing that I want you to also make sure of is that while you have the avatar, don't miss out on future business by excluding people. And I'm going to share with you here in just a second what I mean by that. And then also just make sure that, again, whether it's a product, a service that you're providing, that, it's all inclusive. Anyone can purchase this because anyone can be your customer. Now, and it takes me to the third bullet point of why, I think it's very important to buy Black. We have to make sure that the Black dollar circulates more in our community than the 5 or 6 hours that is staying in there right now. But I don't market Black and I don't sell Black. And what I mean by that is that if I did that from a real estate perspective, I would make a fraction of what I'm making now. So I have a perfect avatar, but I have multiple in regards to that, because see, I love working with first-time home buyers. That's a particular avatar. Because I am a first responder, a retired first responder, I have a heroes program that gives to first responders, teachers, medical professionals, and military. That's another avatar. I have my seven-figure, homeowners and sellers that that's a whole different market. So, but the brand, once again, the marketing is different in all these different areas, but the brand stays the same on those areas. So I want to talk about some tools that will help you build that brand. And remember, I was talking about on a shoestring budget in regards to building your brand. Remember, when I started in 2017, one of the things I didn't share with you, I retired from the police department in 2013. I was in a coffee distribution business that was doing great when I retired, great in 2014, great in 2015. And all of a sudden, there were some changes that happened in 2016. And I made the lowest income and revenue that I had ever made in my adult life. And I mean, I was on the verge of bankruptcy. Fortunately, I didn't have to file. I was on the verge of, losing my home, losing my car, behind on my bills. And it was in that moment, that was the moment that I said, okay, I know I have some time to be able to take a business and do big things with it. I just did it with that company. So if the company is changing where I can't do that, I need to change the vehicle that I'm driving in to create revenue. So I jumped out of the coffee distribution vehicle and back into the real estate vehicle, but this time I was full time with it. Well, like I said, I was just in the worst year of my life. So finances were not there. So I needed to figure out how to create marketing material, branding material, video content, all those different things on a budget. And I use services like Fiverr. If you haven't heard of Fiverr, Fiverr is it's an outsourcing program where you're outsourcing from people all around the world. If you need a resume, there's someone on Fiverr that can do it. I just had a song. I released a book called Ignite Your Greatness. I talked about it earlier. And I sent a message to a guy and said, hey, I want you to create a rap song that fits. And here, I don't know how you're going to do the lyrics, but this is what I need you to talk about. Man, this guy got this song to a T to cover everything that I talk about in that book. And in the book, and the song is called Ignite Your Greatness. And it's right there. If you go to my YouTube page, it's probably 20 or so down in there. But it cost me $89 to have someone create a song, rap it, do all the mixing and all that, and send it back to me on Fiverr. Canva is another one where any content that you need to make, if you go to my page, social media page on Facebook or Instagram, and the content that you see there, especially the JPEG images, all of that is created through Canva. It's $14.99 a month that I pay on that. I'm going to give you a great video app. It's called Quick. There's no cost for Quick. And why it's called Quick is because you can literally take pictures, images, video content, drop them in. You just put them in the order that you want them to pop up, and Quick turns it into a video where they do all the editing just like that. I mean, literally, I am making videos in about 2 minutes. A 2-minute video is created, completely done in 2 minutes. So Quick is definitely one I would tell you to jump on and use that. Wix.com, I built websites for myself and for others. And again, I pay, I think, $29.99 or something along those lines a month just to be able to use those services. Viva Video is where I do a lot of my video editing in there. Just these that are right here on this page, like I said, I'm probably under $100 that, when I started out. And like I said, I still use this. Now, since then, I've hired a lot of people because now time has become, more valuable to me than sitting down and doing these things. And I have people that have been able to, I put in place to be able to do those things for me. But I built, because of starting in the beginning in 2017, I've been able to build my revenue to multiple six figures a year, where now I'm able to do that. But I want you to, hopefully you wrote those down while they were on the screen, just to be able to use those, because a lot of times that's what holds people up in regards to building their brand, creating their logo, whatever the case may be. Fiverr, you can do all of those things that we're talking about right there from Fiverr. So let's get into, oh, do you have a question, Chris?
Yeah, quick question, because I'm not getting any questions in the chat just yet. I think people are still filling it out. They want to hear, what you have to say. But I'm a firm believer in Fiverr. I'm a firm believer in Canva. I haven't used Quick yet. Similar to you, I'm trying to get started in, some inspirational speaking, if you want to call it that, and things of that nature. So, I know the importance of like building your brand, setting yourself up, obviously, to promote yourself in a sense. Do you find, or have you found, because I know you mentioned, some failures, right? But I've always looked at my failures as just super big lessons, and trying to come back from them. And I'm a firm believer, if you fall, the only way is up. You know what I mean? Like that's just how I've been believing. When you found yourself in that place, like you said, between the transition, not having that income, how did you keep your entrepreneurial mindset like super stagnant? Was it just like you understood that you needed to light that fire up under you because your back was against the wall? Or was it just something that you understood and knew like there had to be something on the other side? And I only say this because I do feel like we have people on here who are at the beginning of their entrepreneurial stage. And I think sometimes, maybe it came to you a lot sooner, but sometimes people don't know when to transition from that 9 to 5, that this is a guaranteed paycheck, to jumping out there and doing things on your own.
Oh man, you touched on so many things, and honestly, that's a whole nother Oprah right there. But I'm gonna definitely touch on it, because it came down to mindset, as you mentioned, and that's something. As a police officer, I always tell people, when I was a police officer, I was very jaded, just like a lot of cops are, and it's because of the job that you do. Because I always tell folks that people don't call for the police when things are good in their life. They call when they're the worst. And so when you're in a job where you're dealing with negative situation after negative situation, you become negative. And I can say that because I was very negative. And it was about 2008 that I started my personal development journey. My sister gave me a book called Think and Grow Rich, changed the game. I've read that book 6 times. And the reason I've read it 6, because I was told that most millionaires have read that book 10 times. So I got 4 more to go, but I'm well on my way in regards to building the 7 figures. But again, that was the thing that opened my mind to personal development and a whole different shift in my thinking. And so when you mentioned going through 2016, I was in a place that I could not be rattled. I could not be shook, even though I was going through the worst financial time of my life. On top, I didn't even mention in 2015, the summer of 2015, I lost my brother. This was the first sibling or anyone in the immediate family that I lost. The summer of 2016, a year later, 13 months later, I lost my father. He was 83 years old, and it was a shock because he was in great health, but he had a heart attack. And so on top of going through the worst financial time of my life, I'm also going through the worst just family situations. The emotions were all over the place. And at no moment did I think, was I in a place of failure or was I in a place of doom and gloom? I was still fired up about my future. And this was because of the personal development aspect of it. I was just in a place where I could not be broken at that time. I was bent, but I could not be broken to think that I was, this was I wasn't going to be able to get out of this terrible situation. And honestly, it was, for me, because I look back on that time, even when I was in the moment, I said, man, this is make an amazing story someday. And lo and behold, Ignite Your Greatness, the story is in that book. So that's one of the things I would certainly urge someone that's listening to this and you're trying to figure it out. And I love what you actually said, Chris. You asked the question about you're in a job and you're trying to figure out when to leave and when to go all in on your business. That was the same thing. That was my biggest fear, was walking away. As a police officer, I was making six figures a year starting from the age of 28 up until the time I left at 45. Well, I wanted to leave at probably 35, but fear held me hostage in a job that, I enjoyed the job, but I would have much rather been working for myself during that time. And I finally got to a point where I was doing this coffee distribution business. It was in the network marketing realm. And I had so much success on the front end. And once again, this was like 2012 that I got into that business. I had 4 years of personal development under my belt. So everything is kind of coming together. And in 2013, only 11 months into that business, I was in a position where I said, you know what? I'm about to take this leap of faith and I'm going to jump. I may hit these rocks, but I'm going to keep flying. And that's exactly what I did. And I did. I actually flew first and then hit some rocks in 2016, but I figured out how to sew up the parachute and keep flying. So, but yeah, I definitely, if you were that person that's on here that's saying, yeah, but, this is my situation. I'm telling you, we all have different situations, but it really comes down to the decisions that we make. Number one, the decision, but then the action that we take. I always tell people, I use this little parable or riddle. There's two frogs sitting on a lily pad. One decides to jump to land. How many are on the lily pad? Most people will say, well, there's one because one decided to jump to land. No, there's two, because deciding to jump and actually jumping are two different things. So, like I said, we got onto another Oprah there, but I wanted to definitely touch that, Chris, because, it's a great question, because you're exactly right, because we can talk about all of this in regards to branding, marketing, give you the blueprint to it. But if you don't believe in you and your abilities to be able to go out and achieve these things, none of this matters that we're talking about. So I appreciate that question.
No, absolutely. I think my question opened the floodgates to some others, but I know you want to move forward. I just have one. There's a few other questions, but I want to get to this one because I think it's important. Someone, basically said, how do you build brand awareness? They have an adventure travel company for African-American women, and they would like to start building their email list, and they don't know how to move forward. Like, that brand awareness is huge, understanding. And I think you kind of hit on it in the beginning, but maybe just, kind of going towards that question as well.
Okay, well, yeah, that actually is something that I've tapped into. I'm a part of another network marketing company called iBoomerang. Part of it is travel. I still get paid off of it, not really active, but what I learned, I use some of the services there, and I use some services from another company that helped me to build my database. So anytime I do an open house, or if I'm doing an event, I do a lot of different events. I have these vacation vouchers. And so if you're in this particular question was from a travel person. So imagine being able to set up a booth somewhere, and you're able to give a 3-day, 2-night stay in Las Vegas or in Cancun or wherever the case may be to someone just for signing a register, putting their name, phone number, email address. I do that all the time. I can't tell you. I was just meeting with the team that is doing all my social media stuff. Now we have a database, one particular database that has 600 people. This is 4 years of building this, but 600 people. And again, this is, honestly, it should be 6,000 because I did it off and on during that time. So it really goes back. I'm just giving you one example of how I use these vacation vouchers to build brand. But all it comes down to is providing something of value enough for them to give you name, phone number, email address. And that's how you can start to build that database. And so you think about a vacation voucher, that's something of value that you can give to someone. You probably have, and I'm posing this to the person that asked the question, you probably have some different things that you can offer. And it could just be information. It could be things that people are totally unaware of in the travel industry that could be a game changer for the next time that they travel. So, and definitely, if you want to connect with me, we can connect on Facebook or any platform. Send me a message. I can share with you where I get these vouchers, how I use them. I pay $37 a month. Like I said, I started this when I was broke in 2017. So I had to find something that fit the budget that I had then, but still provided value. And as you can see, I'm telling you all these different things that are inexpensive that I started using in 2017, and I'm still using them. Why? Because they work. All right. Okay, we'll jump in a little bit more and then we'll go back to some questions here. So how do you actively build an effective brand? We're going to get into that in regard, but also talk about, why do you need to build a personal brand? This is my brand. As I said, that's why I'm dressed like this, is because what you see on the screen is how the brand was built. It's my team. When I said, hey, we got to show up, we don't just show up, we show out when we show up. And again, we have to stand out in the room. We used to go, these 4 ladies, when all 4 of us were together and we were doing networking events, we had to be the talk of that room. We had our own networking event that we did, but we showed up at other people's networking events. And they knew that, you could tell, even though we were in different parts of the room, you could tell that we were together just with how we presented ourselves. And you can see in regards to, with me on a personal level, whether it's my real estate business, whether it's the course creation coaching business that I'm in the process of building right now, whether it's the speaking engagements or the book, this is how I show up. And if you think about it, if you were to take each one of these images and change me out to a t-shirt and jeans, it gives you a whole different image of me. It gives you, is this someone that I want to listen to from a coaching standpoint on entrepreneurship or branding? Or is this someone that I want to help me buy a house? Well, if I was working with someone that owns a 7-figure house and I'm listing it and I show up in t-shirt and jeans, I'm probably not going to get that listing. They're probably going to have other agents that they're looking at in regards to that. And one of those other agents is likely to get that particular deal. But again, this kind of gives you an example how I want to show you with this particular slide how I took one picture and I use it for multiple things. So I took this picture, I think in 2018, and you can see in the middle right there where we use it from a real estate perspective. And then it's also on the cover of my book. And when I took these pictures in 2018, I had no idea where we were going to be using them, but I knew what the brand was and I knew what the image needed to look like. So we had them ready to go. And then as things have come up, I've been able to put them in the places where they needed to be utilized. So let's talk about how personal branding allows you to stand out from the competition. Again, with what I just showed you from the images standpoint, versus someone that's showing up, maybe even in slacks and a knit shirt, whatever or a polo shirt, it's still, there's a certain level. I don't mind being overdressed at an event because once again, the point, I know if I'm overdressed at an event, I know that I stand out. And I know that I'm going to make an impression on people in regards to that. So I'm okay, from the personal side of how I'm dressing, of standing out. On social media, I want to stand out as well. So you'll see, again, I'm using all the latest video technology that's available. If there's some type of digital imaging that I can do that no one hasn't seen, that really the market hasn't seen before, I'm using that because, again, it makes me stand out. I can't tell you how many real estate agents, I coach quite a few different real estate agents, many of them on the marketing aspect and the branding, because they've seen the what I'm putting out, and they're like, man, I want to learn how to do that, or I want to hire someone to do that. Who do I need to reach out to? And so, again, all of those are the things that you want to be able to do with your brand. If you can first stand out and then you get to that place where you're capturing the emotion of people, remember, it's about how you make them feel. When they first see you, and then when they get to know you and what's left behind. So when, especially in my business, you got to stay top of mind. We got 28,000 realtors in the Metro Denver area alone. So people have choices. They got a lot of choices in regards to who they use to buy and sell real estate with. So if you want to be top of mind, you got to do things that create a brand, an image that makes you stand out as knowledgeable, makes you stand out from a level of professionalism, being approachable, someone that those clients want to work with. All right. So you got to also be able to do those things that your competitors can't bring to the table. And no one can be you better than you. Being you is your superpower. And when I say that is, we were each created as a gift from God, and we have gifts and talents inside of us. And it is those unique talents that are going to make you different and that are going to make you stand out in the world. And what do you have that's unique? You think about your experiences in life, things that you've done to get to the point that you are now. Taking those experiences and then being able to apply them to your business is one of the things that not everyone else can do. You take your strengths, you take the pluses. Like I said, for me, my strengths are, again, I have a creative side. I have this piece of being able to take what's here, apply it to a digital image, apply it to video content, or hire the people that I need to be able to take the images that I have of creativity and make it for me. So finding what your strengths are and then applying those to your business. The beliefs, again, whatever your beliefs are in regards to your particular business, what it is that you're doing there, your beliefs in how to build the relationships with your clients, all those different areas of being able to make connection between your business and your prospective clients or customers is also going to be very unique. And again, perspectives. I think we definitely live in a day and age, this last year and a half, where we've been able to look at social media and we see so many different perspectives, whether it's on George Floyd, whether it's on the pandemic, whether it's wearing a mask or not wearing a mask in schools. There are perspectives, there are opinions. Well, you have your perspective. Now, the key with that is being able to share and put your perspective out there where it's not, now this, again, for the purposes of business, where it's not going to be abrasive to others that may not see your perspective, because we're not talking politics and we're not talking, things that are going on in the world. We're talking about your business, but being able to put a perspective on it that most people don't see. And you open someone's eyes to something that's different, that captures attention. So again, being able to do that with your brand. And the skills go back really kind of to the strengths. And it's, again, the important piece is being able to apply those skills and use them to be able to continue to build your business. The insights also, much like experiences, is again, it's going to be the trial and error, the trial and error, the things that are working within your business and the things that are not working, and figuring out. It's almost like collecting data in your business to understand what works, what doesn't work, and what's helping to continue to build the brand in the right direction. So those are the things that are going to set you apart from everyone else. Building your personal brand allows you to highlight that uniqueness. And again, like I said, for me, I've always loved to be able to get dressed up. Like I said, it's kind of changed since the pandemic, but I've just loved being able to get dressed up, and I get a lot of compliments in regards to that, especially when I'm going to these different events, and maybe it's slacks and sports coat or something like that, and I'm still showing up with a 3-piece suit. But I enjoy suits, and it's a part of that uniqueness for me. One of the things that someone else pointed this out to me, I didn't even realize that superpower piece in regards to me is my ability to be able to connect with people. So for instance, I can meet someone one time at a networking event. I might forget their name, but I won't forget the stories they tell me, about their kids, the stories they tell me about the business that they're in, the stories they tell me about their family, or the struggles that they may be having in their business, or whatever the case may be. And the next time that we meet, I always ask the questions about, because I genuinely want to know, how did that situation work out? How are the kids doing? And funny thing is, I can't sometimes remember their name, but I can remember their kids' names. I don't know why that is. But again, I get caught up into the stories of people, and it's just been something. And I think, again, there's things that I took from law enforcement that I've been able to apply here. I think that's one of the reasons, because again, when someone was talking to me and telling me what happened on a particular incident that I got to write a report on, I needed to remember all the details. So I think that's a big part of why I'm able to do that. But that's my uniqueness. So, Chris, I wanted to kind of pause real quick and also check on time-wise where we're at.
Yeah. So we have about 15 minutes left, but I think in relation to your uniqueness point, we have another question that I would love for you to answer. Sure. It is, I've been slow to market myself online. I have a difficult time knowing what to post and how you effectively market a natural body products business. And I think they're asking that question from what is appropriate, what isn't appropriate, you know what I mean? So I don't know if you can give some insight in that as well.
Yeah, and I would definitely, number one, if there are other people in that industry that are marketing and putting information out, I always say that it's okay to be a copycat as long as you copy the right cat. So look at some other companies that are similar to what you're doing, and you can duplicate what it is that they're doing. So you mentioned kind of natural body. I'm going to just take, for instance, my sister is in doTERRA. It's an essential oils company, and I've helped her with that. So, I've been in weight loss companies. I've helped people build marketing campaigns around weight loss. It's real easy because you have the before and you have the after, and that's it. I mean, you have those two pictures. It becomes very, very easy to do those things. But I want you to think about when it's an essential oil, and let's say it's working on the body from the inside. You can't put a picture up about what it's doing, the benefits of what it's doing, but you can put a testimonial up. You can, drop the camera in front of someone and get a 30-second testimonial of, man, I was using this particular product and for 30 days or 60 days, and this is what happened. You can put a text testimonial of that exact same thing. And you can have the product, if you have the text, you have the product as the background and the text sits over the top of it. Those are just a couple of things that are kind of coming top of mind in regards to that. But, again, I think that being the Metro Denver area or Colorado in general, we're a very health conscious community, and we are always looking for better health, better fitness from a cosmetic standpoint, to make sure that we're looking our best. So you're in a great market to be able to do that. And then when you're doing it from a social media standpoint, you obviously can do it all across the world. But again, I would take those 2 points and play with those. And then also, like I said, the very first one that I made is reaching out, or just honestly examining some people that are doing in the industry that you're in, that are doing the things that you see they're having success with it. That's kind of ClickFunnels 101, really. That's one of the first things that they teach you how to do, is to look at what your competitors are doing and what they're having success with. You don't copy it exactly. You find out, okay, where's the success at in regards to this particular ad, and then you craft your ad or your post to fit that from a standpoint of creating success for yourself. All right.
Absolutely. Thanks, Barry. Right. I appreciate that.
Okay. All right. And we won't get through the whole thing. This is material for this course that I'm creating. That's about a 4-week course. So we're just hitting on some of the main points here. But I want you to think.
Do your thing, Barry. Do your thing.
All right. We want to think about Rolex and how they've set themselves apart from the competition. I have a Rolex on here that's $6,900. That's the low end for Rolex. They have them as much as $50,000, $60,000, that I've seen online. But then you see this watch next to it, not cheap either. It's $2,900. But again, I couldn't even tell you necessarily the name of it, but everyone knows the name Rolex. The crown that's next to that watch there, we know what that crown stands for. That's the logo, but it goes to the brand. Now, again, you may not necessarily get a feeling in regards to Rolex if you don't own one, or if you never, put one on, but there is a thought that comes to mind of prestige. And just like when you see a Mercedes-Benz emblem or a Rolls-Royce emblem, there's a thought and a belief that comes behind it in regards to it. And maybe you're in a place of, when you see it, it may be on your dream board right now. You may have a Rolex on the dream board alongside with a Range Rover emblem. Again, they set themselves apart. Not to knock anybody that's driving a Honda, but Hondas are probably not on the dream board, so when you're dreaming big. And, I'm trying to think of a fossil watch is probably not on anyone's dream board. A Rolex is. So you can see how they've been able to set themselves apart from the rest. And that's what you want to be able to do with your brand, is set yourself apart. Remember, when I said, I want to be the name that everyone thinks about in real estate, and I said, okay, how do I set myself apart? And all these components are, have been put in place for the last 4 years, and we continue to build on top of those. And also, I want you to remember something that I said, that I haven't hit that point of being that name yet. But I also mentioned that it takes about 7 years to truly build a brand where it's a household name. So as you're building yours, don't get discouraged if you're a year in or 2 years in and you're not necessarily seeing the results that you would expect. Know that it's a process, and you have to trust going through the process, but just make sure that you're seeing results from where you were a year ago. You're at a different place, a better place than you were a year ago, and just evaluate it each year. Now, there may be times where you have to make adjustments in regards to the branding, and you'll take that on a 6 month to a year time frame of being able to evaluate, okay, this is where we were, this is where we're at. I like the trajectory of the way that we're going, or I don't like it. What adjustments do I need to make? So always just keep those things in mind. And personal branding does allow you to charge a premium price. And I think, especially in the African American community, we do get, especially when we're first starting a business, we kind of get caught up in feeling like if we offer below the price of everyone else, that's going to drive more business to us. But honestly, we need to have that price either slightly above the median of everyone else or higher. And as that brand starts to build, you have to, make sure that your prices are premium. Just the premium price itself helps to build the brand. The stronger the brand, the more people want your services and the higher price that people will pay. I give you the example of Nike because, again, people have been paying $100+ for Nikes for probably the last 20+ years. So it started that it's a shoe. Now you can get shoes for $20, or you can get not a Nike, but you can get shoes for $20, or you can get Nikes for $120 or $150, and they haven't had any problem selling. You think about Apple Watches, Apple phone, or iPhones, iPads, all those different things. They come at a premium. When we have Black Friday sales, have you ever noticed that Apple doesn't really go on sale? Their prices stay the same because they want to keep the value in it, and that just again continues to make the brand stronger. I think I'm going to close out with this particular piece with celebrity branding. This is something that I recently started using and having a great deal of success with. And I want to share some of the platforms that I'm using to do this. When I was talking about public speaking and the speaking engagements that I'm doing, I've had the opportunity to meet some amazing people. I've been mentored by Les Brown, one of the number one motivational speaker in the world. I see Kristen Brooks on here, who's actually another student of Les Brown, and she just released a book as well. And I'm sure if she hasn't already, she's going to have Mr. Brown. He will have her on his Facebook Live talking about her book. So again, when my book came out, you ask, how did it become a bestseller on Amazon? Well, it's because I had a celebrity pushing my book out for me to the masses, using his platform to get my book out there. I've used in regards to my real estate business. We have a lot of local celebrities. I have the fortune. Rod Smith used to be one of my business partners and is a good friend of mine. He wrote the foreword for my book. And we've worked together in that coffee distribution business as partners. And again, I was able to use his brand to help build my brand in that particular business. Right now, I'm looking at reaching out to some other folks that I haven't met, but I've been able to find out different ways of booking personal development speakers and booking comedians, booking jazz artists and things of that nature for different events that I'm looking to put on. And again, that's, I'm in a position now where I can pay the money to be able to do those things. But when I wasn't in a position, how would you like to be able to get a video from Ray Lewis or, some of the successful comedians that we have in the world? How do you utilize and celebrity brand to build your brand? Well, there's an app. I'm going to give you another app if you haven't heard of it. It's called Cameo. And this is where, you got celebrities that are basically on there that will do a video. Now, some of them, they will only do like birthday videos or anniversary videos or congratulatory videos. But there are some of them on there that will do a sponsored ad type of video for your product. So imagine having, if you go to Cameo, you can go to download the app, or you can just go right to the website and just kind of peruse through there. I know Terrell Davis is on there. I just saw where Rod Smith just joined Cameo. Steve Atwater, who's one of my clients, is on there. So there's a lot of local, celebrities that are on there. But I mean, there's tons of people. A lot of people from the cast of The Office are on there. There's a lot of the Real Housewives are on there. So if there's one of those Real Housewives, Nene Leakes is on there. And you think about it, Nene Leakes has made a pretty big name for herself from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Imagine having her promote, your product or your service through a video, and maybe it costs you, $500 to be able to get it done. Well, if it was outside of Cameo, it would probably cost you $5,000 or more to be able to get that same type of content. So I definitely urge you, again, this is a way to bring attention. Remember, when we're building our brand on the front end, we're looking to create attention that brings it to us and away from our competitors. So we're setting ourselves apart. So one of those areas that you could do is the celebrity branding aspect. Now, if you're in a position where you can put yourself in a position where you can pay $6,000, $10,000 for a commercial or something along those lines, then again, once you build to that point, it's definitely worth it. I can tell you in my business, when I close a house at a minimum, I'm making $10,000. So I always look at if I'm doing an ad and it's going to cost me $10,000, I need one deal just to break even on that. Now, that's the other thing, that you got to look at what it is that you're selling and how many units or how much service do you need to provide to be able to break even on that. That's kind of looking at things from the financial perspective of your business, but it is important. While you want to be able to brand and you want to be able to connect it to that celebrity aspect of things, because it is going to help you raise attention to your business much faster, you got to look at the numbers of, does this make sense to be able to do that? So Chris, go ahead.
We're coming up on 4 minutes. I'd love to, ask you a question in the sense of, obviously, I know this is your space. I know this is your realm. How do people get in contact with you? Do you mentor? Are your services, affordable in a sense? Obviously, I know that you're the guru right now. So it's like, how do you reach out to people, or how can people reach out to you in a sense of just, asking you for your services, even if it's just some advice? What do you charge? Things of that nature.
Yeah, so right now with, obviously the speaking and my real estate business are, where my main focus is. I'm in the process of I'm sorry, I shouldn't hit that just yet, but I'm putting my information into the chat. And so right now I'm in the process of building a course, and this course is on kind of everything we talked about. Is mindset and building that belief. There's one section on branding, and then there's one section on marketing. See, we didn't really we touched on some marketing pieces, but that's a whole nother animal. And building the brand is, while there's, challenges with that, it's that marketing piece. That's the action that really gets it out there. But I've put that together in a course. Now, it's a course made for real estate agents, but what I've learned from it is it applies to anyone, because what I've just showed you is from that course. But you notice that it applies to everyone. I didn't make it specific because I go into a lot more specifics of how to apply all these, the branding piece and the marketing piece specifically into real estate. But I'm gonna also put my email address in here as well, and my cell phone number. Definitely feel free to reach out. From a one-on-one basis, I'm not really able to take anyone on, so it really is going to be jumping into that course. The cost of the course, the introductory cost when we start the course, this course will start in January. It's going to be $3,500 for that course, but it's a 90-day course. And some of these people that I've talked about, like some of the celebrities that I've talked about, some people that are far better experts in some of these areas than I am, that I actually learned from and are seven-figure earners. They're going to be teaching in this course as well, because we'll have each week, you'll have a lesson plan, you'll have video training that you get. And then once a week, we meet as a group and we kind of go over the information, because one of the things that I've learned in regards to course creation is that I have to make sure that you are implementing what you're learning. So you can read a book and learn some great information, but if you put the book on the shelf and you never apply it, you got a lot of information right here. What I want you to do is look at the content, do the training, go through the task that it puts you through, and then each week we're putting those things into action. And because again, I want you to come out from wherever you start in that course. 90 days later, you've already earned income by applying these things that we talked about. Because I never want anyone to walk away from something that I know works because I've done it and I've trained other people to do it. And I never want someone to walk away and say it doesn't work because they didn't work it. So hopefully that's helpful. And then Facebook, I'm on Facebook as Barry L. Overton. Instagram, I keep it simple because again, I want people to find me. So that's a part of that branding aspect too. So Barry Overton on Instagram, Barry Overton on TikTok, Barry Overton on LinkedIn.
I want to say, a huge thank you. I know that the feedback is going to be great. The questions that were answered. I want to say, obviously thank you, but I also want to say, guys, if you are interested, if you want to learn more about Barry, like he is all over social media. He's not, this is not just a portion of what he does. It's all that he does, branding, marketing, everything else. Barry, I'll give you some insight on what I think of the book. I've just started, but that's because, obviously, I'm trying to get into the space. So it's something that I'm definitely interested in. So I want to give you your flowers while you're still here, bro. We appreciate you. We thank you for being here. This has been nothing but, amazing, and wish you the best. And like I said, guys, if you want to reach out through any type of social media. And he put his number and his email on here. So definitely reach out.
All right. Thank you so much again for the opportunity, Chris.
Absolutely. All right, everyone, take care. I'm giving you the rest of your night. Take some of this information, make it work in your head and push it forward.